I'm trying out a new format, which would be video game reviews or more like recommendations. But I usually don't play the latest and greatest video game releases, maybe even before they are officially released. No. I'm someone who, when he sees a video game that looks interesting, puts it on his Steam wishlist and then buys it when it is heavily discounted. Maybe 1 year, 2 years, 3 years after release, whatever. But I think often enough I happen to play video games that could have easily been overlooked by the larger community when they came out. Like this one, Warhammer 40k Mechanicus. I bought it really because I heard the soundtrack on YouTube and thought that's a really cool sci-fi epic soundtrack. I should check out this game. And I've enjoyed it. I've played through the whole campaign and enjoyed every minute of it. So let me show you what this game is about. Let's load one of my save games. And I show you a very late game mission. So this is the mission selection, and what I find interesting is that you're playing from the perspective of the mission leader. There's a Mechanicus mission to a Necron tomb world, and you're playing as this guy, Grand Magus Faustinius, and when you're going into a mission, you go into a first-person perspective of him, and you view everything through this tactical, strategic view screen, which I think is a very neat idea to visualize the combat. And you get missions from your advising staff. And these 5 Mechanicus tech priests have quite different personalities and outlooks on the mission you are doing. First up is Scavola. She is very interested in plundering all of the secrets and the science of the tomb world, and she is barely human anymore. She speaks in code. Then we've got this one, Videx. He is an old conservative religious priest with emphasis on the priest, and his missions usually involve cleansing some part of the tomb world, or spreading prayer beacons, or smoking incense or something in that vein. Then we've got Kefra. She is leading the Skitarii troops, and her missions usually involve troop morale and taking care of your troops. So, to my mind, these missions often make the most sense from all of the missions that are available. Ro here is the ship's quartermaster, and his mission usually involves scavenging for some resource you're low on. Finally, we've got Captrix. She is a hunter, and her missions are always eliminating some boss monster like the Voil Vizier. And it's a hard mission. On this year, the last mission, Twilight of the Gods, praise the Omnisire. And sometimes I've chosen during my playthrough the missions by how interesting, beneficial they sounded for the mission at large. That's why I don't have any Scavola missions left, and much of the Videx missions. But more often than not, I have chosen the missions by the potential rewards. You get more equipment, Blackstone, which is the resource you need to upgrade your troops. And you get new troops, you can deploy more troops to the battle, and so forth. So usually I would scroll through here, and then if I find a mission that looks like I could use the reward, I'd use that mission. This could be interesting. Sanctus Canister, Skitarii Ranger level 3. I'm using these a lot, so this mission would be interesting. Here you've got your cohort, where you can see all of your tech priests and your supporting troops. Your supporting troops range from the Servitor, which are really only useful as cannon fodder. You get a cognition point when they're hit by an enemy, and cognition points are your action points in this game. You need them to do almost anything. But other than that, servitors are not super useful in battle. More useful are the Skitaris, like Skitarii Ranger, that move faster, have a lot of range, reveal enemy stats, and can even disable enemy weapons. Super useful. Skitarii Ranger Alpha, super agile, avoid opportunity attacks, do good damage in close combat, and can make themselves unhittable, so they can soak up damage indirectly. Then you've got your more like heavy troops, but I haven't picked up a lot of upgrade for these. But of course the most interesting parts are your tech priests. You start out with only 2 of them and unlock more tech priests as the game progresses. And for these you have tons of customization options, tons of weapons, support equipment, and cybernetics. You start out with very little, but you unlock some of this gear every mission, so by the end of a game you have a huge selection. You can also spend Blackstone to upgrade these in rank, and then you can put points in one of these 6 skill trees, allowing for different specializations. And for example, like this Lex Mechanic a lot, because it allows you to get cognition points. Remember, action points, you need this for everything. And the last skill in this tree is Overcharge. You collect passively every time you are hit by an enemy, which is already useful, but the active is fill the whole cognition gauge. This may be the most useful skill in the game. I've got this skill maxed out on 2 of my 4 tech priests. But with all of this customization options, you have the opportunity to really specialize and customize the troops to your liking. For example, Magus Jeremiah here is a leader of troops, so he can summon these troops to the battlefield and order them around and buff them. He can also buff the other tech priests. This is the leader of the group. Now I've got Monarius. He is equipped for close combat. So I've got the meanest axe and the meanest chainsaw mechadendrites, and he does a shit ton of damage up close and personal. They can also move very fast across the battlefield. I've got Magus Leonardus here. He is completely skilled for support. So he can repair the most amounts of damage. He generates cognition points like you wouldn't believe. And other than that, he has a bit of close combat and a bit of ranged combat. Whatever is needed at the moment. He is not specialized in that regard. Lastly, we've got Oriokus here. He is a ranged combat specialist. So he's carrying the biggest plasma gun and the biggest flamethrower I could strap on a tech priest and he does shit tons of damage to groups of enemies from a long distance. Very useful. Let me show you an actual mission. Maybe this one because I like the rewards. Launch the mission. You can select prayers to take with you during your mission, and you can use each of these once during a mission. And I'm packing 2 prayers for cognition points because super useful. And you can take a number of troops with you. This number increases as you advance through the campaign. At first this was like 6 troops, now it's almost up to 12. And servitors only useful as cannon fodder, so I don't usually pack a lot of those anymore, because these rangers, these levels 3 rangers in particular, are more useful to me. The story is presented in these text overlays, and you don't get a lot of voice acting. Funny enough, the Necron bosses have actual voice acting, while all of your tech priests are speaking in this kind of mechanical sound effect. But at least every one of these got their own kind of sound effect voice. But mainly you will have to read a lot of text to know what the story is all about. And there are even different endings depending on which of your lieutenants you are supporting. And I actually think this is written fairly well. Each of these characters has distinct personalities, and it's got its own sense of humor. So reading these texts never felt like a chore. Kefra's always worried about the well-being of the troops. The others not so much. As you can see, this is the table from the main menu. Here's servo skull, there's candle in the background. This is the first person view of Faustinus, the mission leader. I think this is a neat little idea. So in here we can see the corridors connecting different points of interest. You basically go with your team to these points of interest and see what's going on. So this is a general event, more often than not something that is hindering you. These are Necron devices that might give you buffs if you know which buttons to push. And these are mission objectives. And the layout of these maps is randomly generated each time you start a mission. So there is some replayability together with the different endings and the tech priest customization options. This game certainly has its replayability. Though I don't think I will replay it. While I like this game, I didn't think, yeah, now I want to go through all of that again. I'm quite fine with having played through this once. So let's go through here. These events usually are hindering you, usually giving you a debuff, your enemies a buff, unless you can choose the right response. And I usually choose at random, I have no idea. In a hard mission, I will save scam this. So I will save before entering a room, then try out these options until I get one that is good, and then save again and go into the next room. I can see no logic behind this. Maybe, just maybe, it depends on which kind of mission you're going on. If you're going on to a religious mission for Videx, the religious option usually is right, but that's not reliable as well. That could just be information bias on my part. So I can just choose something at random. Last time I was trying to film this, I chose Outrun, which didn't work. Let's try Obstruct. That gave the Necrons initiative, so they will act before all of my troops in the next battle. It's also horrible. Okay, let me show you this glyph. These glyphs are Necron devices, and you get a number of buttons you can push. At first they are all like gray, and you don't know what they are doing. But as you try this out, as you see these machines time and time again, you will find out which buttons to push. And the game shows you the good buttons in green and bad buttons will be red. So I've got two good options here. Blackstone, very nice. Okay, let's go here. Let's go to this mission objective first. Sensor servitor, extreme fluctuations, powerful energy source. I'm on a religious mission, so I'm choosing the religious option. Let's see. No, terrible choice. Terrible choice. Necron Tomb's Awakening. As you explore these, this awake level will rise. This will mean that there will be more enemies in the battle, and they will reanimate faster once they are down on the ground. So you try to keep this as low as possible. Okay, let's go into an actual battle. Extra Necrons, great. Like this loading screen animations. Very thematic. When you meet new enemies, you get a log entry of this tech priest Resak, who has been on the Tomb World before, but obviously he has died here, and now you only have his memories, and I think he's one of your server skulls, this one. And they give you some information about the enemy. Sometimes they are useful. More often they are not really useful. Scan or destroy. So I have to get a text priest right next to these consoles to scan them, or I can shoot them at range or hack them apart with an axe. You can also see these Necron devices that have these cogs. These are cognition points. I can scan them, or I can stand next to them and harvest these points. So these are points of interest on the map. And I've read in the Steam comment this as a point of criticism, that this is limiting your tactical options too much. But I found ways to work around that. I've got my prayers to give me cognition points. I've got two of my tech priests to give me cognition points. And even if you don't have that, you can always send your servo skull to collect the cognition points. These are very useful. Every tech priest carries one. And they will scan enemies, reveal the statistics. You can use them to buff troops if you're skilled for that. Or you can obviously collect cognition points. So let's get my troops situated, hopefully in a manner that they are not shot by the Necrons in the first round. Let's get the battle started. Oh, these are turrets. Not good. Ouch. So all attacks in this game hit. There's no avoiding attacks, no percentile chance to miss, like for example in XCOM. So your only way to mitigate damage is your armor and your shields. Armor is good against close combat or physical weapons like a flamethrower. And shielding is good against ranged attacks and energy weapons. Both you and your enemies can have both. So your strategy revolves around, firstly, positioning, to have the troops in the right position. Then managing cognition points, so you are able to actually act. So let me collect one here. And thirdly, to know which enemy to attack with the right tech priest. This is my leader, so I will use him to summon some troops onto the battlefield. Now this is my supporter, so I will use him to heal my troops and collect cognition points. Everyone's still damaged. All of my tech priests can heal damage to an extent, but this one is just best at it. So let me also shoot these. Let me use this so I can use my gun 2 cognition points cheaper. These plasma weapons are super useful, hit everything within a line. And finally I hit this one with my axe. I haven't revealed the stats for this, so I don't exactly know how much damage I'm doing. I can use this spotlight to buff my armor and enemies will attack him, so he will tank the damage. This is my ranged combat expert, so he can do damage with his silver skull and reveal the stats. His most useful, or one of his useful abilities, once again, all of my tech priests can repair, so let's make use of that. But he can fill the cognition gauge, which is especially useful on this character, since both of his weapons use a lot of cognition points, and I mean a lot. Let's see if we can hit everything. No? Maybe if I stand over here, can I hit them all? Yeah. Can hit them all. Let's give them the good news. Nice, killed 2 of them. And flamethrower on the rest. So satisfying. This one is the leader of my troops, and he can summon troops right onto battlefield. So let me get a close combatant right to this ranged Necron and then buff him. And buff all of my tech priests. And find a position where I can shoot at enemies. It gives me a little symbol on top of the enemies if I can attack them with a weapon, which is handy. So I think I want to take out that spider. So let's go here. I'm moving too far, so this cost me cognition. But he too can make his weapons cheaper to shoot. I can attack this general area. This here, this little tiny gun is free, so why not shoot it? And now maybe I use one of the candidacies to get more cognition points, so I can do some more useful actions, like standing right next to my troops and hitting this guy with my axe. Then I can activate this field generator, absorbs 8 damage, should be useful. Finally, another buff for this troop. Great. And now he can do a devastating attack against this one. He is so buffed up. But that has not been enough. We've got a tough foe over here. This is my close combat expert. He can move super far. And he reveals enemy stats when standing next to them. So this one's almost dead. These scarabs will heal enemy troops, so I should get rid of them. And maybe I can kill this spider. Good chance I will kill it. Yes. Very nice. Yeah, let's get back into this shield, because I can't take out this turret. No target. Strange. Let's call in a few more troops. Calling in troops also costs cognition. Understand, I'm not in range yet. If I get closer against this exclamation mark, so then I am range. Nice little UI input here. This should be able to hit. I can't hit this with the plasma gun. Strange. Then hit it with my axe. This takes care of that. So now I can hit this one with my plasma gun. and pray to fill the cognition gauge. Hail the Omnisire. So wow, that one's tougher than he looks. Now he's down. There we go. Finish him off so he doesn't stand back up. This should be enough for this round. Finish him off too. Bit of a waste of such a strong attack. Move up. Think I'll use him to scan one of these this round, or better yet both. Can move so far. Also, when you destroy these, you lower the Necron Awakening, which is super useful. This might finish the mission. No! Reinforcements! We've got reinforcements! Escape! Okay. Sometimes this happens during a mission. New objectives, new enemies. Sometimes whole platforms full of enemies come from the depth of the map and change the layout of the map, and you have to be able to react to these changes of the battlefield on the fly. So you have to gather resources, make a plan, and then make most efficient use of your resources, which I think is a very Mechanicus thing to do. I'll move back. Use this to collect more cognition. And end the turn. These reveal the stats, so this one's not so tough. Good to know. These do loads of damage, but this one's got the most energy shield of all of my troops, so he can take it. Let's get a bit of cannon fodder in there. It's got an ability where he not only gets more armor, but enemies in range will focus their attacks on him. So this servitor is my cannon fodder. My pawn, my sacrificial pawn. And I get cognition points for that. That's really useful, especially in the early game when you don't have that many opportunities to fill this otherwise. Let's move up. Spend cognition, gather cognition, and get in a good position to shoot all of it. My plasma gun, if I can. This one can collect all cognition from a source at once with a servo skull. Super useful. So let them have the plasma gun. Oh, I only hit one of them. What a letdown. Didn't make sure that this was properly lined up. This one's tougher than he looks. Let's bless all of our tech priests. +2 damage. Praise the Omnisire. Next round. Yeah, shoot him. He can take it. I don't need him. Probably hit all of them with the flamer, but I don't have the cognition. Back here is still more to be gathered. Now I can hit all of them with the flamer. Cleanse them with fire. Still alive. Okay. Next priest will have to take care of them. Let's see if I can get into a position where I can shoot them. Also can't use my guns. This one's down. And out. This one I can still hit with my axe. Oh, nice. So he won't be super useful in this mission anymore. This will end soon. Ouch. But he's got a prayer to restore all HP on either troops or tech priests. So I will do this before the mission ends. And I'll use the remaining cognition to get him out of here. Can't quite make it. So this has to go another round. Well, let's shoot the Necron. Why not? Get more cognition. You always need to harvest cognition. Need to make things cheaper. Nice. This heavy flamer is one of the best weapons, I think. And let's get out of here. all remaining cognition is collected at the end of the turn, so don't have to delay the mission just to collect this. Does it automatically. Good feature. Yeah, and like this you make your way through the map, you upgrade your troops, and you go to the next mission. That is Warhammer 40k Mechanicus. I like the music, I'm fond of the presentation, think the gameplay works very well. A nice number of customization for your troops, a nice number of tactics you can employ, and the game always keeps you on your toes with changing enemies, changing maps, and sometimes even changing environment during one single encounter. So if you haven't played it, I'd recommend you check it out, especially if you can find it heavily discounted on a sale, but I think this game would be worth about 20 bucks. So, I hope you liked this video and this new format. Let me know in the comments below. Consider liking and subscribing my channel, it helps the channel out. Thanks for watching and goodbye.